Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
Welcome back to FutureTech, your weekly source in tech and innovation and business. I'm the startup coach, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, John Irwin. How are you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Craig? Chris.
I'm doing wonderful. It's early in the morning. It's a Thursday. So have we decided that Thursday we should probably just start moving these to Thursday from now on?
Let's do it.
All right. It's official. So then we'll take a look to make sure that you're good for the next one, and we'll start moving to Thursdays.
I think the next one is already moved to Thursday. Or no, that's the week after.
The week after because of starting for drinks.
Yeah, so next Thursday we're good. So
excellent. We got a lot to talk about, and we'll get to what's going on in our lives at the end, like usual. So thanks for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe. That helps us always. Leave a comment, whatever. That helps the algorithm wherever you are and spreads the word. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is this flying car that makes the world's first flight with passengers. So flying cars have been a thing. Jetsons, we've been dreaming about this for a while. Is it a reality now?
Yeah, so it's closer. So this is this Slovakian company, Klein Vision, who developed this. I think it's called the Air Car. It's a prototype. And like you said, it's the world's first flight with a passenger. And he was a musician. I can't remember his name. But so it follows along with what they've been doing. So they got certified in 2022. And they had a historic intercity flight in 2021. So they've achieved quite a few milestones. And so the air car itself transforms from a sports car to an aircraft in minutes using foldable wings and a rear propeller. I don't know if you're showing it there. There you go. Really cool. It's powered by a BMW engine for now. And it only requires 300 meters of runway for takeoff and landing. The flying car itself completed 2 passenger flights at 120 miles per hour and 8,000 feet after 200 plus successful prior tests. So they did a lot of testing on this. And so for those of you that, just to kind of put this into perspective, they're trying to combine a car and a plane, which allows kind of a door-to-door aerial travel, which bypasses current traffic. Now, the current limitations are more certification. There's still training required. And if we're talking about clean energy and all that sort of stuff, this still uses fossil fuels versus sustainable electric power. But as we covered previously, the electric power for aviation is not there yet. The technology isn't there yet. So this does prove viability of a flying car concept, which bridges the road and sky mobility, which has huge potential. So the key is the easy transition between drive and flight modes and energy efficiency advances and things like that. So the biggest thing too is regulatory frameworks. Like this is a whole new way of traveling. We already know that it takes a lot of hours to learn how to fly as well. Now, if they could automate that and kind of make it more autonomous flying, maybe. But yeah, really cool stuff though.
Yeah, this is definitely cool stuff. We've been playing the video of it, and I've got another video going on now talking about showing the people who are watching the car and it landing and driving on the highway and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
There's problems enough right now with drone limitations, where you can fly drones, how big they can be, because as long as they're fairly small and they fall, okay, they could, bang somebody in the head. But if they're under, only a few grams, it's probably not a big deal. But once you hit 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, that falling from the sky could do some serious damage.
Yeah.
Now, never mind something like this. And, right now we have all this flight control for airplanes to make sure they don't run into each other. And there's only a 100 in the air at a time, a few hundred in the air at a time across North America. I don't know, maybe 1,000.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to the traffic that we would get here in like Toronto, going from Toronto to like where we're talking about millions and millions of cars.
Yeah.
So, what kind of regulation are we going to be Fifth Element, where there's like If you remember that, there was like multi-levels. You could
Yeah.
fly 20 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, and all these different traffic going on everywhere. When do you see an approval for this type of thing? Never mind the car being ready. When do you see the regulation saying, okay, you can fly these things, whatever the restrictions are?
So I think I think certification is going to come soon. So I think that they could start producing a limited number of sports versions by 2024, 2025. But that's certification to produce it, right? So there's regulatory approval, there's production scaling, infrastructure development. That's going to take significant time. So I would say 2026, 2028, if everything goes smoothly. So that's like 4 to 6 years from now. But then we come into what's going to be the cost, right?
Absolutely. What is this thing going to cost? Like, a professor invented a flying car called the Air Car version 5. It says the air travel speeds of 125 miles per hour, but this is a fairly old graphic. And I'm putting on my startup coach hat here. People, pay attention. There's a plan for it to go on sale in 6 months, so it can turn from a car to a plane in just a few minutes. Okay, this plan for it to go on sale for 6 months. This picture with that in it has been around for a couple of years. Never put dates on these things. Always talk to it, because you wonder now if they're looking for investment. You say, you've been shopping this around saying you're going to have it on sale for 6 months for 3 years now. When are you actually going to have it on sale? Anyway, that's the question I have for you. When are they actually going to have it on sale?
No, that's great. I love that you're putting on your startup coach hat for this, and we should keep doing that going forward. That's phenomenal. So again, be cautious. Like, I know people are anxious, and there's a lot of early adopters that are going to want to get into this. Now, are we talking millions of dollars for this? I don't think so. I think we're looking at maybe 500,000 for the first ones, maybe $1 million. And that's not bad if you compare it. Like, if you're talking about ultra rich people or people who have Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and things like that, Bugattis, like, this is achievable for them. Now, is it achievable for the consumer? Sure, if you want to lease it, that's going to be a high lease. But again, they're expecting, based on the article and based on some research, it's going to be between 500,000 and $1 million for the first range. But the thing is, for regular consumers, I'm guessing, just based on things that I've read and research, I'm guessing the price may not become more affordable until 20, 30 years out. And that's only because if they get to that production rate of like a Ford production line and things like that.
500,000 to $1 million is very reasonable these days for, we're talking about the Gamera, which is probably going to be 3.5 million. Like, I keep looking for racing, and the only racing I've seen is in video games. I want to see this thing race.
Especially the new one, the 2,000 horsepower one with the
2,300 horsepower one. Yeah. So it was interesting. If you watch the video on that where they launched, and he says, we found if we turned our V8 engine and turned it this way and that way and moved the drive shaft, we could actually fit a V8 in here instead of the 3-cylinder one they had, and that's or V6, whatever it was. But they got it up to 2,300 plus horsepower in that 4-seater with 8 cup holders. So you say, and it's practical. It's something like $3.5 million.
Shout out, honestly, I gotta shout out to Christian von Koenigsegg. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of him, but the guy is like, he's super smart. I know we're on a tangent here, but I have so much respect for the guy, his innovation. He is a true innovator in all technologies. And he's one of those people that, like, he comes across as approachable. You know what I mean? Like, not like Elon Musk. No offense to Elon Musk, but yeah.
In the YouTube world, he's considered the final boss of supercars.
Is he?
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
So it's just one of those things. So Koenigsegg. Yeah, definitely check him out. The stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
What kind of licensing? Okay, I'm gonna go drop $1 million on this. What
Yeah.
type of licensing or training? They can't just say, "Yeah, go ahead and give the kids to your 16 keys to the 16-year-old who wants to go on a date and take the car for a ride." What kind of training and licensing gonna have to operate this thing?
Well, first off, yeah, you're gonna need a driver's license, obviously, because if you want to operate it on the road, and then based on what I've read, you're gonna need a pilot's license. So you're gonna have to pass the exams on aviation theory and complete a minimum number of flight training hours. And then the developers also indicated that you're going to have to do specialized training on transforming the car into an aircraft. So you're going to have to go through a lot. So apparently, if you do like a full-time training, it's expected to take between 2 to 3 months to get a basic pilot's license. And then simulator training may be part of the instruction. And then once you're going to need to maintain a valid driver's and pilot's license by passing periodic driving tests and flight reviews. So obviously there's a lot more licensing and training requirements, but not a whole heck of a lot more than what you would expect, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me. I'm just curious when they start doing this regulation. Like, this is Slovakia. They've gotten approved to fly here. I don't know what that means. Do you need your pilot's license there? Do you just need some sort of in-between training to fly this thing? I would assume you need a pilot's license, but that's just assumption on my part.
Yeah, for sure.
So what kind of what's the maximum range of this thing from flight or flight time?
Yeah, so just to get into a little bit of details, the engine is a 1.6 liter combustion engine. It provides, and we talked about 160 horsepower. In the article and in research, no details were provided on the fuel tank capacity, but if we were to look at small aircraft, they typically have ranges under 1,000 kilometers or flight durations of 3 to 6 hours maximum due to weight constraints. Now, that's if you're purely flying, right? So that's not driving and flying. So it has, and I know I said in miles per hour, but it has a cruise speed of about 190 kilometers per hour, according to the developer. Typical aviation planes with similar engine horsepower and cruise speeds have maximum ranges of around 800 to 1,500 kilometers when carrying 2 people. So just based on estimates, we're talking between 800 to 1,500 kilometers and then refueling.
All right. So I mentioned that these things will go on sale within 6 months. When do you think they'll actually go on sale and, people will be able to buy them?
Yeah. I think so. They're probably going to have a pre-sale, which be cautious, especially based on what you said now. I think 2026. That's my prediction. Actually, I'm going to go in the middle, 2027, if progress goes smoothly, where people are going to start buying them. So again, a lot of ducks need to come into a row, need to line up for this, because it's such a change in current infrastructure, current travel, different things like that. So and it's going to have to be country by country as well, or maybe the whole EU if they can get the EU behind it. But it's going to be challenging for sure.
Only needs 300 meters of runway to get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 kilogram, the 2-seater model. I should take off and land. It can 120 miles per hour at 8,000 feet. Turns into an airplane in 3 minutes. We'll put the video here. The 1.6 BMW engine, though it's going to move to an eventual electric power, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The government announced some plans for flying taxis to be a reality by 2030 in its future flight action plan. The Slovakian government, I guess they're doing this tourist thing. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. But again, who knows what the regulations there are in, that's for later, by the way. Who knows what that country is like as far as regulations go. So I didn't do a deep dive into Slovakia. So.
Well, they're saying that you have to take the 2 to 3 month flying course, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you have to both have a driver's license and a pilot's license. So that will be interesting. the commute of the future, avoid traffic jams. So are we?
Is that me or you?
It's me. I played the video. It just took forever to start. Sorry. It's a car video. Okay, great. This is going to launch in a few
here's
years.
the thing. I wasn't prepared to talk about this really, but we could talk about it later. But there was one that I was actually looking to buy because I lived and worked in Cambridge. And it was $175,000, and it was a personal flight, like a vehicle where it's like a motorbike kind of thing, where you just take off straight vertically and you can fly, I think 50 kilometers or something, or 100 kilometers straight. I think that those are more viable because I honestly think you need to separate the two. You need to separate cars and you need to separate flying vehicles. I could be wrong. That's just my own personal thing, but that would be cool. What it was is it would just sit in my backyard, and then for me to go to work, I just hop on it and go drive in a straight line to work. I think that those are more viable if they can get the price point properly than these things. I think the flying car is more of a novelty. I think because of the transition that between car and flying vehicle, I think that presents a lot more challenges than just producing a personal flying vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm just jumping around here. If you're watching, this is looks like it's something called the B, Canadian Spring Flying Car, one of the step closer. So it's a Canadian built flying car. We had someone in our community do something very similar and had one a few years ago. So I was curious as to see if I could find it, but share this tab instead. So Canadian Auto Dealer Magazine 2022, an actual street driving flying car is now available for pre-sale.
Yeah, but pre-sale means
electronics.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm just for Q4 delivers in 2025.
Wow.
So I'm curious to see. Am I sharing that tab? Yeah. And this was November 2022. So I'm curious to see if this company is actually delivering on anything.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me going down the rabbit hole for just a little second here, I'm curious to see best innovations, the drive to fly, the flying car just wowed Detroit. It could be in the skies by 2025.
Nah.
All right. So
maybe my 2027 prediction is wrong. Let's see.
But these are, again, it's a company, a startup, whatever you want to say, being aggressive with their predictions. Hey, this is where we're going. So you're probably more likely because nothing ever happens the way you plan it.
But hey, I'd be happy to be wrong. Like if things come out sooner, then great. But yeah.
But we definitely need some regulation because these are flying lower than more you would assume. You'd have to figure out what happens if you have an issue. All of a sudden, you conk out and you just fall to the ground. What kind of damage would happen? Yeah. Are we going to need raised in Toronto, for example? Would we have I could see a raised platform on top of a few skyscrapers where you come in and land and then drive down. So rather than actually, trying to fly through buildings or whatever. So
isn't that what Uber was experimenting with?
I think they're all trying to experiment, but I don't know about experimenting with I don't know if Uber was experimenting with flying vehicles, but they're definitely experimenting. Oh, they are. Excellent.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Between buildings. Yeah. But we can talk about that another time.
And this is what they enable faster, easier commutes driven proprietary technology that elevates the vehicle without the need for runway. So this is interesting and cool. There's lots of interesting stuff going on here, and I'm really excited about flying cars and seeing where it goes. I know it's going to be a while, and maybe we're not going to get there anytime soon, but I think we're all tired of the traffic jams.
Oh, I certainly am. Yeah, that's why when I go to Toronto, I leave at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I avoid, especially now with the Gardner. Jesus, kill me now.
Wow, that was amazing.
alligator?